Okay.
Oh, look at that. It tells me what's going on.
Okay, we're recording. It's Wrong Speed Record Chat number 42. And we have 2/3 of Bilge Pump. We've got Joe O'Sullivan. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
And we have Emlyn Jones. Hello.
Hello.
And how are you doing?
Very
Pretty
well.
good.
Very well.
Good, good.
Can't complain.
Good.
And Joe, where are you? Right now, where are you?
I'm in Otley, just in my kitchen. I've been enjoying the garden today. And I'm just having a lovely beer now as well.
Beautiful. Emlyn, yourself, where are you and what you're drinking?
I am in Emlyn in Leeds. And I'm drinking a glass or a plastic cup of water. Ooh. If I had beer, I would drink that, but I can't be bothered going to the shop.
Oh, coffee on that fella.
Yeah, some of it's in here though, in the cup.
And some's in your belly?
Not yet. No, it's too hot.
Oh, right. No, none in my belly yet. Then. None
in my belly.
Right. So, okay. No worries.
Joe and Emlyn are in the rock band Bilge Pump.
Bilge Pump.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And Emlyn, how long has Bilge Pump been going?
Over 25 years. I'm going to say now. I think it was kind of 1992, 1993 or something like that when we first kind of started.
Wow.
It didn't start as we didn't know it was going to be a band. Joe was just recording stuff on his 4-track as just for his own amusement, and then I shoehorned myself into the vocal department, and then I don't know, maybe 9 months, a year later, we thought it could actually be something we could do as a live thing. But
yeah. And were you a drum machine early on there?
Yeah, we were. Which was all very well for recording, but playing live, it was often a total disaster. Because back then, venues didn't have very good PAs. It was generally vocal PAs we were playing through, no monitors. So quite often we couldn't hear the drum machine, end up going out of time. So, it was always interesting gigs. Interesting.
Even gigs, even venues with decent PAs, they didn't have monitors that were good enough. And it's just like, when you look back at bands that used drum machines like Big Black, they took a full Marshall stack on tour just for the drum machine. And so there's the logistics of just having a loud enough drum machine, and then you're enslaved to the time. If you lose it, if you go out of time, then you can be completely lost and never get back on it.
Yeah, the one time I've played in a band with a drum machine, I found it like you're being just held back by Rains the whole time. Ironically, it actually was Rains, the band I was in, but it felt it felt like you were just being held back. You wanted to race ahead a bit, and it was just constantly just going, and you're like, oh man, alive.
That's the thing. When you play live, you tend to speed up. Your songs will get a bit faster than what you once recorded them as, or as you do in rehearsals. You just get a bit energized. You want to play a bit faster. And if you can't, if the drum machine's holding the reins.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so you get a drummer in, and how many? And that was Mr. Neil Turpin, correct?
What's that? Neil Turpin. That is the drummer.
That's correct.
That is his name.
Is he the only drummer you've had?
The only full-time drummer. We've had a few gigs with other drummers over the years. Like quite early on, Neil was off on tour occasionally with other bands. So Mick Flower drummed for us once from Viber Cathedral Orchestra. Mark Sims from Bob Tilton and whatever other bands he's played in. Yeah. And Doog from Spy vs. Spy and the Wow. He drummed for us for a few gigs as well. And we did some with two. I seem to remember we once did one with Neil and Mark Sims drumming once. I believe after one tour, when it was after a tour when Neil had come back from being on tour, we had a gig and Neil came back slightly early or something. I think we had two drummers for that one gig or something. Does that ring a bell, Emlyn?
I think we might have done for a couple of songs or something like that.
Yeah,
and maybe even Andy Pollard playing guitar as well.
Yeah, yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
So you're quite I've got a record here I'm going to show just because of the name of it. Really, it's this one here.
Ah, of course.
Okay,
it's a belter.
The main reason I'm showing it actually is because it's called Buzz or Howl Under the Influence of Leeds 6. Okay, and to me, Bilge Pump are a classic Leeds band. Would you agree with that? Like, it seems to me that you're one of those bands that are ingrained in Leeds.
Probably, yeah, I would say so. I mean, if for a band, you have to be. If you're going 25 years, you have. It's pretty sad if you're not a classic band.
That's true. That's true. It is sad. It's still no.
Yeah. But it's like, oh god, that derisory band is still going. Like classic.
Oh, God.
Well,
yeah, I'd say so. I think we're kind of, but we're still we're quite unknown still, even in Leeds probably. Certain people in the know might consider us classic, but yeah.
But even talk to me about like the Broodnell sort of band house and whatnot that happened up there. And
what do you mean by the band house?
I was speaking to Chris Summerlin, he was telling me about 97 Broodnell.
Oh, Broodnell Road. Ah, right. I see. I thought you were talking about Broodnell Social Club.
No.
Yeah, Broodnell Road. It was 97 we used to live at. It was a house me and Neil both lived at with a load of other people. And Bilge Pump used to practice there, along with loads of other bands used to practice there. And in fact, we recorded our first album in the cellar there, that one you held up before. That was recorded in the cellar by Mark Sims. So, yeah. And
I expect that Solanke record was recorded there as well.
Right.
Probably.
Recorded at Electric Press.
Yeah, he was Mark Sims, basically, who did our first album. Yeah.
Right.
Same guy.
Yeah. So he recorded that in our cellar, probably. Yeah. But yeah, we used to have a few gigs there occasionally. Truman's Water played in the cellar once, which was a good gig.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. And then a load of other shit bands like us played there as well.
Yep. I'm Being Good.
I'm Being Good played there as well. They played.
We had a great gig there with I'm Being Good.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have actually, I meant to bring up an I'm Being Good record, but I have like I'm Being Good, Bilge Pump, and I have Joey Fat in that group yeah, like groups of bands who are like just still going. You know, in a good way, like from sort of the 90s and just like still doing good things.
I think I'm Being Good are one of a few bands of this sort of thing that have actually been going slightly longer than us. I think when we're talking to Andrew Clare, I think they've been going maybe a couple of years longer than us. Maybe even Joey Fat might have been as well.
I think they could well have been, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Joey Fat at the Fenton with Ligament back in the early 90s at some point. Ligament and Scarfo, whatever.
Yeah.
That was is that the single from that?
There's Ligament there.
Oh, yeah, there's Ligament there. Very good. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, I suspect that might be before we'd existed. Yeah,
it might well have been.
Gig.
Yeah, it might well have been. It's a good gig.
Yeah.
Good gig.
So I'm thinking maybe though the first time I met you was when you got involved kindly in the 2 Minute Men compilation.
Ah, yes.
So
yeah,
originally a double 7-inch and then ended up being a big CD, which is just easier for me to hold with all these songs. I'm not sure if I'd met you before that or not. It was certainly through the Gringo people, though.
Yeah, I think first time I met you was maybe when, I don't know if that was before or after that, when we played that gig on the boat in the River Thames, and you were in Hey Colossus and you had a broken foot or something at the time.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
It does, yeah.
I don't know. Was that before the 2 Minute Men thing or was that after it?
Okay.
It was all about the same.
I think that was after it. I think, yeah.
Oh,
I think we probably hadn't. I don't think I'd met Joe until then, but I think you'd been in correspondence with him.
That was definitely.
But yeah,
that was after, because Colossus formed after that 2 Minute Men business.
Oh, did it? Right. So we would have met you before that or something.
Yeah,
probably.
that was. Yeah.
Were you at the live Peel session thing we did?
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Right.
Yes.
We would have probably met you there then, wouldn't we? Yeah.
Do you have this book? I always hold this book up.
I do.
I don't have it. No.
Yeah. So it lists the Bilge Pump Peel sessions.
Oh, there you go.
Weirdly, did 2 in 1 year.
We did. It was after we did that live one. Then basically, it's pretty much a few days later, he emailed us and said, after that excellent live session, do you want to come in and record one for us? So we recorded it not very long after that live one, yeah.
Yeah, so 23rd of July was the live one.
Yeah.
And then the 5th of November.
Yeah, and we recorded it probably about a month before, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
About 2003.
Yeah, 2003. Yeah. They were very, very enjoyable evenings. Those.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Who played the night you played? Who played the night you played? So I probably know, but you say if you can remember.
I can remember I'm Being Good, Charlotte Field, Twinkie. Was there anyone else, Emlyn?
Joey Fat, maybe. Joey Fat.
Oh yeah, Joey Fat played as well. Yeah, Joey Fat. Yeah, that's right.
5 bands. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I uploaded them onto YouTube. They're, you can go and listen again at your leisure.
Yeah. Did you get any photos of that at all, Joe? Because I never took a camera, so I never got any photos of that live session.
Someone would have.
Yeah.
Not me.
One of those things where you think, I wonder why I didn't take a camera and get any photos of that.
I know. I'm the same though. You do these things and you don't realise that it's the one time that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is me from now on. Peel session time.
I'll be doing this every week.
Never happened. Did one. That was
it.
Yeah. Tell me about Joe. Tell me about being in touring America with Red Monkey.
Oh right, yeah. I did that a couple of times with them. First time was basically just a 2-month tour. I just went along as a freeloader, basically. Pete, Rachel, and Mark just asked me to come along under the guise of basically being some type of roadie type thing. But it's basically just to come along for a laugh, really. Yeah. So they paid my airfare and everything, and it was like a 2-month tour, and it was a really good laugh. It was a good chuckle. Yeah, and then the second time went over a couple of years later. At that point, they got me to play guitar a bit. So on their last album, I did some guitar playing with them. So I was playing guitar with them as well on the second tour. That second tour was with Razorata and Q and Not You, who had just had their debut records out. So it's really popular tour. It was totally packed out gigs. And I remember we actually came home with a profit. We all came home with money in our pockets, something like 500 quid each.
No
after
way.
Airfare, van hire, and stuff like that. It's crazy. And that was only a 2-week tour, that one as well. Whereas the first one was 2 months. We did a 2-week tour and came back with a profit.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And they even equally shared it with me, which was quite good.
How very punk rock.
Yeah, that was back in the days when you could just do that sort of thing. So because meant to have visas and all that sort of stuff. But I still remember we'd got on the plane. Me and Pete were both carrying guitars. They're saying, "What are you doing in America?" Like, just going on holiday. Quite obviously, and I think we were both carrying guitars. Mark had a bass drum pedal in his bag as well. Whereas obviously you couldn't do that sort of thing at all anymore. You just get turned away straight away now, wouldn't you? Yeah. But no, it was really good. It was just nice and chilled. Yeah. And Mike Simonetti from Trouble Man, he was driving us, so he took care of everything. It was great. But yeah,
sounds proper. Emlyn, were you jealous?
I don't think so. I was quite pleased to hear tales of this foreign land that Joe was exploring.
And records were really cheap, actually. Again, this whole thing about talking about records. I remember the secondhand record shops in America were so cheap as well. It was crazy. It was compared to secondhand record shops in England. I don't know if it's still like that in America, but late 90s, it was bizarre. I came back with just loads of vinyl as well. So good. Yeah, it was good.
Good, we'll get to that. So let's talk. Yeah. I want to talk about one other tour that Bilge Pump did, and it was you were in France. I know that you know where I'm going with this, probably.
Yeah.
Marseille? No, not Marseille. Where was it?
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. That's it. Yeah.
What
I think.
Was that the gig?
We were touring with Doog, was it?
We were on that one, yeah.
Mm. We played a gig in Bordeaux, if I remember rightly, and the only people that turned up were Hey Colossus, featuring yourself, Joe. So you saved the gig from being absolutely one of the worst write-offs of all time. But so you gave us someone a reason to play. But
the best bit was that we asked the promoter. We said, "Can Hey Colossus play as well?" Seeing as they're here, I think there was no support band or something either. So it's just us.
It was Poltergeist, was there?
Oh yeah, they're on the tour as well, weren't they? But yeah, we said, "Can Hey Colossus play?" They're all here, and they're an excellent band from England. And the promoter was like, "Oh no." It's like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, they're here, they've got a big here, why not play? So we just sat around for a few hours waiting for the gig to start.
So we've just toured Spain.
Yeah,
we had to drive all the way back through France, and we needed somewhere to sleep, and John Wood was driving us now in Lower Slaughter, and he was like, "Oh, I know, Bilge Pump are playing in Bordeaux, we'll swing by there, I think I know the promoter, we'll just try and get somewhere to kip there." Right. And that's essentially, so we swung quite a way out of our way, I think, to go there. It was a bonus that you were playing as well, so it really worked out well. Sure. And I think that the promoter said no to us playing, mainly perhaps because he thought we were terrible, but also because we were the audience. So if we would have been a band, then no one would have been there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He might have had to pay you and find food for you and somewhere for you to stay.
One would have paid to get in.
But you were all so dejected. It seemed like you'd had the worst tour ever and you were going to split up afterwards.
Yeah, you lot seemed really down. That's right, yeah.
Honestly, it was one of those, like, there was some up moments, but there was quite a few down. We lost the van one night. It was insane. Like I said, I didn't talk about this particularly, but we did. We lost the van, and yeah, it was a few stressful days we had, and yeah, we were fit to burst by then. But I think there's a video on YouTube of that night of Joe having a shave.
Yeah, being interviewed. Yeah, who was interviewing me?
All of us.
Was it Daniel Chapman interviewing me?
Yeah,
he was filming you.
Yeah. So that rings a bell. Yeah. I've seen that on YouTube somewhere. I came across it at some point when someone said it was on there.
It looks really like it looks kind of dark and murdery. Like
it does, doesn't it?
Oh, here comes the cat. Sorry.
It looks like a David Lynch murder's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember having this little porcelain bowl on my lap that I was shaving from. Yeah. Yeah, it was very David Lynch. Yeah.
So one other thing before we talk about records, is you're from Leeds. How did you get involved with Gringo, who at the time were based in Essex?
I've got no idea. I think Matt Gringo did live in Nottingham by then, although I think the label was still kind of based in Essex because he did it with that other fella, didn't he? Jason Graham, who was still based in Essex, because Matt Gringo was originally from Colchester, which I'm from, but that's not why I knew him, even though we went to the same school. But we didn't actually know each other from school, but it turned out that we went to the same school. But he's like 6 years younger than me, so he would have been in the first year when I was in, upper sixth or whatever. But I think it was just from playing gigs in Nottingham, and he'd seen us in Nottingham, and he's like, yeah, they seem all right.
Okay.
I assume it's from that. I'm just
he probably came up with a Nottingham band to Leeds or Reynolds or something. Or,
yeah, they did.
You would probably just talking about old haunting grounds, stamping grounds in Colchester, I imagine.
Yeah, the home of.
I think you probably hit it off.
The home of Blur.
Home of Blur, yes, home of Blur.
Pop scene, that's a nice rarity.
Ooh, that's probably Blur's best record. I'd say that's their best single, Pop Scene.
Is it? Yeah.
It's really good video of them playing that on The Word.
Yeah, I remember that. That was excellent. Yeah, very good, very good.
Only Blur record I've got.
Nice.
But yeah, so just quickly, Gringo. This is one of my favourite Gringo records.
It's a belter.
Hammer.
Love it. Hammer. Hammer. I always say armor. Why do I say armor?
Emlyn says armor, I think. Do you say armor?
I think I do.
I say hammer.
It's one of those things where now you put me on the spot. It's hard to decide how I say it.
Okay. Do you say?
Yeah, I say armor. That's what I say.
Do you say tortoise or tortoise?
Tortoise.
I can't decide about that either. Tortoise. I think I say tortoise.
Yeah.
Bowie or Bowie?
I say Bowie.
I say Bowie as well.
I switch between them actually.
Oh, okay.
Weirdly, yeah. Lords.
Oh yeah, classic.
Gringo album.
Classic.
Sweet Williams.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've got a badge of that.
Mildly.
Yeah, I've got a badge of that somewhere as well. Yeah.
What's mildly irritating about the Sweet Williams record for me was the sticker is on upside down.
Right.
Here's the front. No, this is the back.
Yeah.
And this should be the front, but the sticker's on upside down. So I always have it this way. But that means the opening's this side.
Yeah, that's not good, is it?
If I ever see Matt again, I will be speaking to him about that. Grey hairs as well. So I just wanted to show a few of the Gringo ones because decent label. Okay, let's talk about records. Here's the thing, just quickly, if anyone's watching, because there's 3 of us, we get time down to 40 minutes on these Zoom chats, and I'm very aware that time flies by, and I'm not willing to pay Zoom any money because I'm tight-fisted bastard.
Play.
Yeah.
So
what happens if you stop it and do another one?
Oh, maybe you can. Maybe you can.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I've
wasted time saying that.
Hit me with a shop. Hit me with a record from your favourite record shop, Joe.
What I was thinking about there when you said that, it made me think of back when I was a youngster, back in Colchester again, as we were just saying with Gringo Records. There was one in Colchester called Parrot Records, which is basically the first record shop I ever really got records from. And so what I went for that was, did I go for that or that one instead? I could have chosen either of these two. Either The Sky's Gone Out, Bauhaus, or In the Flat Field by Bauhaus. Both just classic ones from my youth, essentially. I'll go for Sky's Gone Out because I also think the cover of that was an excellent cover as well. And also, it came free originally with the best live album any band has ever made, which was Press the Eject, the live album that came with this. Absolutely amazing live album.
And it was a bootleg, wasn't it? They just stole it. They took it, confiscated it off a bootlegger.
It was originally a bootleg, apparently.
It came with a bonus like 12-inch LP.
Yeah, bonus 12-inch LP. Yeah, on the original release. Yeah. Have you heard Press the Eject?
No.
Joe? Oh, it's an excellent live album. Really good. Really good. I recommend it.
Good work, Mr. Bootlegger.
Yeah. But yeah, Bauhaus. when I was a youngster, for a while there, one of my favourite bands, basically. And when I first formed my first band with my brother, who forced me to be in a band, he forced me to play guitar, basically, because I couldn't sing. We started off, I think first song we ever did was Bela Lugosi's Dead by Bauhaus. So I think it might be the first song I ever learned to play on the guitar. So, they've always stuck with me as being a classic band.
Yeah. I'm looking at Emlyn, and Emlyn looks like he's rummaging through something.
Yeah, I was just looking at records. I didn't realize it was kind of going a show and tell scenario.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
we're having some fun with it.
Yeah.
So if I ask you now, am I going to catch you out?
Possibly, but yeah. I was trying to find a quick record, but I can't now. But anyway.
Nice close up.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, my favourite record shop was Reckless Records in London, in Angel.
Where are you, just so out of interest, where are you technically from?
I'm from London, from Hackney.
Oh, really?
Kind of. But I was kind of born in Hackney, then moved away when I was about 4 to near the city of London, like Petticoat Lane, Market sort of area. Then I moved to Ealing for a few years. Then I moved back to Hackney when I was a teenager. Right. And now I'm in Leeds.
Yeah. Okay.
But whenever I went back to London, I'd go to Reckless Records because it was just a great second-hand record shop, which didn't really exist. There wasn't really any good second-hand record shops in Leeds. The ones that existed were expensive and they didn't have much kind of choice. They weren't. You'd have to go to Manchester or London or a bigger conurbation to find a decent second-hand record shop.
Okay. So Reckless on Berwick Street, is that?
No, that's where there's a branch on Berwick Street. The one I used to go to was on Angel Islington.
Right, Angel Islington.
On Upper Street. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you did say that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's not there anymore. I don't think that record.
I have a feeling, I would have seen it when I was up there, but I rarely get to that side of London. Whenever I go to London now, I'm in West Wickham, where my mum is. So I go to Greenwich if I want to buy some records or look in there's a record shop in Greenwich, which is all right, which is my substitute for Reckless. That one is just a record and tape exchange, I think, or something like that. But it's got good categorizing. They've categorized the records. All the record and tape exchanges they used to have in London, they just used to have bins. All the records were they weren't separated, so you'd have to just trawl through racks and racks and racks just to find anything of interest. But this one's nicely categorized.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The one in Greenwich.
Just, I got a feeling that Chris,
Chris what?
Chris Bress. You know him?
I don't.
No, lowest form singer, amongst other things.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Yeah. Okay. Click that off. Joe, a record with memories.
With memories, a record of memories. You know what? I've realised that the last one, I believe, I'm looking now, I think the last one, the Bauhaus, was meant to be one with memories, I reckon, because remembering my first band. And I think this was actually meant to be the last one, this kind of memories as well. But it's a classic, White Light, White Heat, Velvet Underground. Basically, this is now totally wrong around because it's meant to be the memories about the Bauhaus and forming the first band. This one, I remember buying this from Power Records. So yeah, I've marked that up now, haven't I?
They'll mix up, don't they?
Exactly. But I can totally remember buying this record because I already had, obviously, the first Velvet Underground album. This is all from the same sort of time, Power Records, back in, I don't know, mid-80s or whatever. I had the first Velvet Underground record, which I obviously thought was, very good. But I've read about how the second album was meant to be, much, rawer and crazier. I thought, it sounded great. You read about Sister Ray, because back then you couldn't just listen online to these things. So yeah, I remember when I actually got it, and it was like, it totally blew me away. I thought the second album sounded like the first album. Everyone said it was meant to sound like, if you know what I mean. People, always said Velvet Underground, totally crazy band. Heard the first album, was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I thought this album was, the best of those two, and it still stands up as an absolutely amazing album. Like, one of my favorite bits is the guitar solo on I Heard Her Call My Name. Is that little bit of feedback just before it says the mind slow squeal of feedback. That absolutely amazing solo. And
I got it on this. I
there you go.
Yeah, it's on this compilation. I thought, to be honest, I thought you might mention the Velvet Underground. I thought you might mention television as well.
There you go. There you go. That'd have been a good one to get out. Why didn't I? But yeah. But yeah, I mean, and Sister Ray was just such a crazy song. Like to hear as like a 15-year-old kid, like what are these guys doing? What the hell's going on here? But it's absolutely amazing. And when I was at school, actually, at a school concert once, because every year our school would do an end-of-year concert type thing where the kids performed. And we formed a one-off band one year called the Velvet Underpants. Great name. And all we did, we just played Sister Ray for half an hour. And it's actually, looking back, I mean, everyone must have thought we were, stupid. But we were the last band on. And as we were playing Sister Ray for about half an hour, people just slowly drifted out, leaving the gig.
What age were you when that?
I'd have been about 16 or so. I reckon about 16, yeah.
And that's pretty young to be discovering and getting into a band like Velvet Underground.
And then attempting to play it in front of a load of the rest of the school. So yeah, the only people who would have known what the song was in the band. So it was ridiculous. But yeah, so yeah, that does hold memories. Actually, this album it holds memories from an absolutely ridiculous gig, getting used to people walking out of gigs, not knowing what on earth they're watching. So yeah, I've had a lifetime of that.
Emlyn, there, you got a similar. Any thoughts?
Some of the memories I've got that one.
Ooh.
Okay.
Tubular Bells, which also might come in a classification of something people might not realise I don't like, but this is kind of probably one of the first records I was ever into as a kid that my dad had, that was in his record collection, and that I kind of still listen to it, still enjoy it. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things I've inherited from my childhood, alongside like War of the Worlds soundtrack.
Yeah.
And the Leo Sayer, greatest hits of Leo Sayer.
There's a scaffolding company. I live near a tiny city called Wells. There's a tiny city in Somerset called Wells, Wells.
As in Bishop of Bath and.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And there's a scaffolding company called Tubular Wells.
Oh, really?
So yeah, every time I chuckle. Yeah.
Nice.
What I'm going to do, we got about 4 minutes left on this Zoom chat.
Jesus Christ!
So what I will do is, I think we should do a part 2 and record it immediately. Okay? Are you two up for that? If I just set up another Zoom thing and then just
sure thing.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
So we've got a couple more minutes yet, but just bear that in mind that's going to be happening.
Yeah,
cool.
So I might decide to stop at some point.
So actually, just quickly, would you say that like influence-wise for both of you, like bands like Velvet Underground, do you think that like guitar style, like between the two of you, like, and three, because I have, like, for me, it's like bands like Velvet Underground and Television, and then of course things like the Minutemen.
Oh yeah,
being a three-piece, the way they do it. What do you think influence-wise for yourself there, Joe?
Well, you know, I find influencers, I never sort of automatically consciously think I'm going to be totally like this, etc. But I would say, yeah, definitely I was influenced by Velvet Underground, definitely, because it's one of the earlier bands I listened to. And even if I don't try and sound like that, I mean, quite often I will do things and then sometimes think, oh, that's a little bit Velvet Underground-y, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, totally. I mean, just the idea that you can make sort of, you know, a load of atonal sort of noise, sort of drones and things like that. I suppose it's the first time I encountered drones from the Velvet Underground. So I would say, yeah, definitely will have influenced.
Because I don't have you down as like a chord player. Do you
know? No. I very rarely play chords, very rarely, for two reasons. One, I taught myself to play guitar, so I'm absolutely crap at things like bar chords. I never use bar chords. I'm generally like 2 or 3 notes at the same time. So I've just sort of weird little chords I'll make up because notes go together. Generally 2 notes at a time at the most, really, maybe 3 sometimes. Unless it's some song that Emlyn's wrote and he's made me play, and it's really hard to play. It's got these weird chords I can't sodding play. So yeah, that happens.
But you, Emlyn, you from the same school there, or?
Kind of, but I wouldn't say any of those are influences of me, because I didn't listen to Velvet Underground till much later. Phil Todd actually recorded me. Phil Todd from Ashtray Navigations introduced me to the Velvet Underground. He recorded some kind of, when I used to live with him in the mid-90s, late 90s, and he introduced me to that, but it was after Bilge Pump had got going, and Minutemen, I never really listened to them either, but I've kind of share a kind of Bauhaus and Joy Division kind of influence.
Yeah,
but in terms of influence on my bass playing, it probably The Cure, Joy Division, and Killdozer probably the three kind of linchpins of how I play the bass. But yeah, I mean, as time goes on, you just it gets wider and wider, the influences you end up drawing on. But
yeah, your vocal is kind of more again, like it's not sung, it's more spoke sung, right?
yeah, I suppose so.
Is that just
I've never really thought about it too much.
no?
I've never tried to emulate anything. My main thing that I took from Joy Division was that you didn't have to be a good singer to be in a band. So I thought I'll have a bash. And but I mean, Ian Curtis is a great frontman, great vocalist, but in terms of having like a good singing voice in quotes is kind of that's kind of us. I saw those kinds of bands and thought, well, I could have a bash. But the other thing that I mainly just I didn't want to sound like an American, so as a lot of singers seem to do. But
right, we're going to count down now. I'm going to stop it. This is going to be end of part 1 because we're going to get cut off in a sec. Come back for part 2. I'll send you an invite, Joe, on Twitter. Okay.
Excellent. Eventually, I'll forward it to the other guy there.
Right away. Yeah. All right. Nice. Brilliant. One. Speak in a second.
See you.